But I am kind of curious to know how y'all feel, right? Do y'all think that right now what we're having are aliens, monsters? Do y'all believe that there's other people, there's other beings around us like us that we cannot see, that we don't know about? Um, how many gods do y'all think exist besides God, the man that created mankind, right? At one point when I was I would say like I was like 23, 24 years old when I started reading a little bit. I wanted to learn about Eve, Adam, and all that stuff. Like a lot of people know, I spoke about it before, right? And I had my own questions. And I started reading, I started asking questions like, yo, I feel as though, like, either like there was another woman before Eve, right? And they just gave her the name Eve. And I was confused when it came to the book of Genesis and stuff growing up. But I started doing my research when I got older. And then I learned about Lilith, and I learned about the snake, and I learned about Adam and the three wives and all that. I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, okay. My thing is, why hide this from us? Why not tell us so that we could understand, right? How can we understand our history? I mean, our future and our present if we cannot understand our past? So we're gonna keep going into it. We're also gonna get into the UFOs. We're gonna talk about simulations some more. But right now, let's talk about let's talk about the Bible. Yesterday, I was trying to get the UFOs and all that out the way, but it's not gonna be possible. So I had to sit here and rethink how I'm gonna do this. These next couple of lives until I figure out what happened to the live from yesterday. So this is how we're gonna do it. So right now, we can't talk about the ancient star children. The oldest god in written history still impacts today. Let me ask y'all a question, right? There's a lot of people that think that God isn't real, and a lot of people that think that God is real. Me, somebody created us, right? So I'm just learning everything that I need to learn. And I'm not saying just now. For the past couple years, I've been doing my research about the Bible, about God, about the people in it, and much more. So I've been trying to like put two and two together. And like I said, I'm kind of understanding a lot of stuff, but I don't fully understand everything. And I have not gotten a chance to read every chapter in every book because I'm going in between. And it's like I'm being like a little detective. As I'm reading one chapter, it leaves you to look for more research. And then here you're doing more research, and it leads you to this and it leads you to that. And I'm sitting here like, whoa. Like reading about the falling angels, I learned about Leviathan, the dragon that got made in Belmont, whatever his name is. Hold on one second. Yeah, see, Leviathan. Leviathan. I can't say his name right, but you'll understand where I'm coming from. But let's get right into this. Our history is crazy, right? And the stuff we learn. Oh, I got a shirt. All right. We know, right, when it comes to the Bible, that God created us, right? But was there more than one God? Who created God? Did God have a wife? What else comes with God? So we're going to look at this little video right here, and it talks about the oldest gods in history. And growing up, I was curious, like the Bible says one God, right? But I'm sitting here reading in history, and they talk about gods and goddesses. Like, were these his kids? Were these his brothers? Like, I was always curious, right? But until we don't start reading, we don't find out. We got to do our research, right? And mind you, I came across a lot of these videos reading certain parts and certain chapters from the missing chapters of the Bibles and the chapters of the Bible that we also know of, the New Testament and the one that nobody really talks about, the Old Testament. So this is how I came across finding all these clips that I am showing y'all.
The oldest tablet or inscription mentioning any god is typically considered to be Anu, the sky god, worshipped by the Sumerians in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, around 4000 BCE, 6,000 years ago. Anu was a part of the Sumerian pantheon and later incorporated into the pantheon of other civilizations in the region, such as the Akkadians and Babylonians. And this concept of Anu influences religions in the world right now, today. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and even Buddhism. Anu was believed to be the father of the gods and ruler of the heavens. There may have been older gods and older deities worshipped by prehistoric cultures, which I've mentioned in previous videos, but these do not show up in written records.
And that's a fact, and that's a question that I've always asked, and nobody's been able to answer my question. Like, if this God exists, right? And in one part of the Bible, it says that God says, "You shall not idolize any other God," right? And people are saying that he just said that, no. I was curious on that. Like, if he says you should not idolize any other God, and I feel as though at one part in the Bible, in one chapter, he was like at war with another God. And then later on the line, I come to find out, like, yo, this man was kind of like beefing with Zeus and them. So, like, it's crazy. So we're all going to learn as we go. We're going to really learn as we go. So shout out to all those that, do the research the way Shorty is doing it, because trust me, reading will lead you to these types of videos. Pick up a book, and trust me, when you sit here and you'll Google something, it'll lead you to what you're looking for.
Logical evidence suggests that the religious beliefs and practices existed long before the invention of writing. However, within the realm of written records, it is Anu and his daughter Ishtar, the morning star, who show up in the beginning.
See, and these two gods, well, this god and goddess, you only hear about them in movies. Think about that.
The oldest tablet or inscription mentioning any god is Anu, who comes from the Sumerian city of Uruk and dates to around 2500 BCE. This tablet, known as the Uruk King List, is a historical document that lists the kings of Uruk in chronological order. Among the names of its kings, therefore, is a reference to Anu, indicating his prominence as the deity in the beginning of time. Anu.
If anybody in the chat knows their history and they know about these guys, more than welcome. Chat with a shorty, interact with a shorty. A shorty want to learn right along with everybody else, because this right here is something that I am recently learning about, and all I could do is just react and ask questions to the video. So y'all more than welcome to leave y'all opinions and y'all perspectives.
Is mentioned in several other ancient Sumerian texts, such as the hymns and prayers and myths, which provide further insights into his role and significance of the god of the Sumerian religious beliefs. These texts were written on clay tablets and have been discovered at various archaeological sites in Mesopotamia, including the cities of Nippur, Ur, and Eridu. It's worth noting.
Now do y'all believe me when I say that the Bible and history go hand in hand? I'm somebody that loves to read. Like, I really love to read, and I love doing research. I don't know what it is. I just love it. I like to learn. I love learning different things. And it's crazy how in our history, we've only been told about just one God. And all the other gods have been put into movies made like if they were fiction, or into TV shows or into novels. It's crazy, right?
That these inscriptions and tablets are the oldest known references to Anu specifically, but it is likely that the worship of Anu predates these written records, possibly by several centuries or more. Anu is considered the god of the heavens, and his name translated as sky or firmament, and it comes from the word An, which is represented by a cuneiform logogram that is interchangeable with the word Digir, which means God, and it is theorized that the word An is actually cognate with the Proto-Indo-European root word for one, which is also An or Ein, showing that Anu is the possible proto-monad concept of the one. And what's even more mind-blowing about this is the rarity of common elements between Sumerian languages and Proto-Indo-European languages.
I'm saying that it gets me kind of curious, right? They say that the God that created mankind is the most powerful God of all. right? And I'm not doubting him. How did mankind manage to tame these gods? How is the biggest question.
Languages, mostly separate language families. And when there's a word that is cognate between these two language families, that this is as ancient as we can possibly imagine. Anu is the son of Anshar, or Kishar, who are primordial deities associated with the horizon and earth. Anu is depicted as the mighty and wise god who resides in the highest heaven, ruling over other gods. He is often portrayed as the father or progenitor of other deities, including Enlil and Ea, also known as Enki. Anu.
So he's the father of all gods. Who's the father of the God that created us? Like, we know Kronos is the father of Zeus. What's his name? Poseidon. And Hades. So Anu is the father of all these other gods. Who's the father of the God that created us, or is he just a God and we're supposed to be gods and goddesses under him, and we're just not doing what we're supposed to do? I mean, there's so many questions, and I have to watch what I say because, like I've said, like I've gotten strikes on videos before, so I have to watch what I say. So I appreciate everybody that's down with a shorty, and listen, let's do this together. Like, I want to know just as much as y'all do.
Anu's role as a supreme deity is sometimes overshadowed by other gods, such as Enlil or Marduk, who gained more prominence in later periods. Nevertheless, Anu retains his status as the head of the pantheon and ultimate authority of heaven. Anu's role in the divine hierarchy is also reflected in Mesopotamian cosmology, where he occupies the highest level of the universe, separated from the earth and its inhabitants. He is associated with the celestial realm, divine laws, and ordering of the cosmos. In the Akkadian mythology of Babylon, Anu is considered the chief god and the father of all gods. He plays a crucial role in the creation story, known as the Enuma Elish, where he gives birth to the god Ea and grants him authority over the earth. The Greek god Ouranos seems to have a similar role as the firmament or the heavens god. Both Anu and Ouranos are considered to be the personifications of the sky or the firmament, and they're both regarded as sky kings.
So are they gods of this heaven, or gods of this earth, or gods of another planet or of another earth, as they so call?
They are associated with the heavens and are seen as the rulers of the celestial realm. Both Anu and Ouranos are considered to be the primordial deities, existing at the beginning of creation. They are among the earliest divine beings in their respective mythologies. Anu and Ouranos are depicted as fathers of major deities in their pantheons. Anu is the father of Enlil and Ea, while Ouranos is the father of the Titans, including Kronos and Racheal.
Oh, he's the father of Kronos.
Physically, they are separated from the earth and its inhabitants, and Anu resides in the highest heaven.
He's the father of Kronos. See, why hide all these other gods? That's always going to be my biggest question on this. Like, and with all of these distractions that are going on, right? With what is being talked about the aliens, is that another distraction? What did they find? What did they discover? And I'm always going to say that.
Ouranos is depicted as an entity that covers and separates the earth from the heavens. These parallels suggest a common theme of a sky king figure with a paternal role and authority in these early mythologies of these early civilizations. Anu is associated with the concept of divine kingship. The king of Sumer was believed to derive his authority from Anu, the one who bestows kingship upon earthly rulers. In both cases, the concept of heavenly abode is present. Anu is described as residing in the highest heaven, known as the celestial abode, or the heaven of Anu. And the name of Ouranos literally means heaven in Greek. The text of the New Testament in the Gospels, the word used by Jesus and Paul for kingdom of heaven, is translated from the Greek kingdom of Ouranos. This heavenly realm is depicted as a sacred and divine space separate from earth. Matthew 16:19, I will give to you the keys of the kingdom of the heavens, and whatever, if you might bind on the earth, will be bound in the heavens, and whatever you might loose on the earth will be loosed in the heavens. The phrase for kingdom of heavens in Greek, Basilias ton Auranon, The word Aranos is present for heavens 3 times in this passage. Bound in the heavens. Didemenon and tois Aranos. Also at the end of.
And they say heavens like there's more than one. And there's another video I got on here talking about the 3 heavens, and nobody speaks about that. Why doesn't nobody speak about the 3 heavens? Right? It's like we really have to sit here and really go out there and do our research, because if not, we're going to be lied to, deceived.
This passage, loosed in the heavens, leleumenon and tois Aranos. So the word heaven for Aranos, which is borrowed from the concept of Anu, or the one, is directly impacting the Christian religion. For the kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of Aranos. Anu is credited with playing a role in the creation of the universe and the establishment of cosmic order. He is seen as the one who organizes and governs celestial bodies and heavenly cycles. Anu is associated with justice and the establishment of divine laws. He is seen as the ultimate arbiter of justice, ensuring that the order is maintained within the cosmos among the gods. He presides over divine assemblies where decisions and judgments are made. These gatherings of the gods include discussions, counsel, and determination of destinies. These aspects and beliefs about Anu can be found in various Sumerian texts, which give us insight into the understanding of Anu's role as a supreme god and his significance in the religious cosmological framework of ancient Mesopotamia.
So there is somebody stronger than God, his father. And they say that he didn't have a father. But is this God's father is the question. But it seems to be the father of all gods, they say.
Now, although Aranos is usurped by Saturn, who takes the kingship of heaven from his father and castrates him, the god Anu, over time, is replaced by other deities who came after him and gained prominence and assumed more significant roles within the pantheon. These 2 primary gods who surpassed Anu in influence are Enlil and Marduk. Enlil, just like Saturn, is the son of Anu and was initially assigned the role of carrying out Anu's decision on Earth. However, as the mythological narratives developed, Enlil's importance grew, and he became associated with the forces of nature, particularly as the god of wind, storms, and agriculture. Enlil's authority expanded to encompass the earth and its inhabitants, and eventually became the chief deity of the Sumerian pantheon. Despite this, Anu retains his position as the head of the pantheon, and Enlil's rise did not involve a direct usurpation of Anu's authority. Marduk's rise to prominence occurred in Babylonian mythology during the time of the Babylonian Empire. In the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth, Marduk defeats the primordial goddess Tiamat and establishes himself as the supreme god. Marduk's ascendancy reflects the rise of Babylon as a major power in the region, while Marduk became the central figure in Babylonian.
Don't it look like at one point that all these gods had interaction with mankind?
In pantheon, Anu retains his position as the father of the gods and the ruler of heaven, just as Aranos attains his status even after Saturn and Jove rule the heavens. Anu, like Aranos, continues to be known as heaven's abode, but Marduk is identified with the celestial body of Saturn, showing his overlap and genetic connection to the Greek myths of Saturn and Aranos. In Mesopotamian mythology, the pantheon was dynamic, with the roles and prominence of gods evolving over time. This evolution was influenced by various factors, including shifts in the political power and assimilation of different cultures. While Enlil and Marduk may have surpassed Anu in certain aspects, Anu's position as the father of the gods and the ruler of the heavens remains significant throughout all of Mesopotamian mythology. The story of Saturn also.
Yo, this is all really interesting, and my biggest question will always remain: why separate the Bible and the history? They all go hand in hand. Why put certain things in the Bible, put certain things in what you call just history, just regular books, history books, and just hide certain chapters like the book of Enoch and other chapters that we're going to talk about later on the line from us? Like, what? My big
known as Kronos, usurping Aranos, is a part of Greek mythology recounted in Hesiod's Theogony and other ancient Greek texts. According to the myth, Uranos was the primordial god of the sky and ruled over the universe as its first original ruler. Uranos married Gaia, the goddess of the earth, and together they bore many children. including the Titans.
So this right here proves, right? I was reading, I wasn't reading, I was watching a video, right? And it had a little article with it. And it was talking about how God had a wife. It kind of does make sense. And it's crazy how people try to make it seem like that nobody knows if God is a man or if God is a woman. There's people out there that do really know the truth to our history, that really probably do got the collections. And I'm going to say collections because there's people out there that are collectors and love collecting history that probably do got almost all of it, probably missing maybe a piece or two to his collection and knows everything that's going on and everything that has happened. Yo, I feel as though that's real. There's a collector out there that has everything. I would love to meet that person and have an interview with them.
However, Uranos was a harsh and oppressive ruler who feared his own children's power. He hid his children deep within Gaia's womb, causing her great pain and suffering. Gaia became resentful and plotted with her children to overthrow Uranos. The Titan Kronos, also known as Saturn, took lead in the rebellion against Uranos. Gaia fashioned a sickle and gave it to Kronos. With the sickle, Kronos castrated Uranos, severing his genitals and casting them into the sea. By castrating Uranos, Kronos symbolically emasculated him.
Yo, they were very harsh with their punishments back then. Whoa. Kronos became the ruler of the world, I guess, huh?
And seized his power. Kronos then became the ruler of the universe, taking Uranos' place as the new supreme god. Kronos.
So they fight like alphas and omegas, kind of like the wolves. That's how they fight. That's crazy.
Then married his sister Rhea, and they became the rulers of.
Oh, my bad. The incest. Ugh. Really?
The gods, known as the Titans. However, Kronos also became fearful of his children, and he worried that they would overthrow him, just as he had done with Uranos. As a result, Kronos swallowed each of his children as they were born to prevent them from challenging his authority. This continued until Rhea devised a plan to save their youngest son, Zeus. Instead of giving Zeus to Kronos, Rhea.
See, Zeus is a god that I hear them a lot about. Zeus, what's his name? Thor, which they named Thursday after. And if y'all don't believe me, y'all can go do y'all research in y'all history. Thursday is named after Thor. Like, this shit is crazy.
Hid the infant on the island of Crete, and instead, she presented Kronos with a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes. Zeus eventually grew up and returned to confront Kronos. With the help of his siblings and other gods, Zeus waged a war against Kronos and the Titans, known as the Titanomachia. Zeus emerged victorious, overthrowing Kronos and banishing him to Tartarus, a deep abyss in the underworld. The myth of Saturn usurping Uranos reflects a common theme in Greek mythology of a younger generation of gods overthrowing and replacing the elder.
It kind of understands. See, some of these stories kind of fill in the holes of why the stuff was happening around the time of Adam, Eve, Moses, Jesus, and all that stuff. This is crazy. So could somebody back around that time have actually met the real God? They say that Enoch is somebody that sat next to God and his wife and actually had dinner with them at the table.
Predecessors. This is what we see with Anu and Enlil and Marduk. It symbolizes the cyclical nature of power and the succession of ruling deities. Scholarly connections between the Greek myths and Sumerian mythology, particularly concerning these deities, Anu, Enlil, and Marduk, and the Greek pantheon, can be observed in terms of shared themes, archetypes, and potential cultural influences. Both Anu in Sumerian mythology and Uranos, sky gods, father gods, holding the position of primacy in their respective pantheons, both associated with the celestial realm and regarded as the patriarchs of the gods, both going through successions and power struggles. Mythological narratives involving these deities, Enlil and Marduk, and the Greek pantheon feature these themes of succession and power struggles. These narratives depict the younger generation of gods overthrowing the older to establish their own dominion, Enlil surpassing Anu, Zeus dethroning Kronos. Generational dynamics observed in both mythologies where the children rebel against and ultimately surpass their parents. This theme of succession and power transfer is significant in both Sumerian and Europe.
And it's crazy, right? Because humans ain't no different. It's like you see the kids trying to overpower the parents and the parents trying to keep their throne. Like, it's just crazy as hell. Like, yo, peep the similarities, right? on what's happening between the gods and what's happening between mankind.
Greek. Both emphasize the concept of cosmic order and establishment of the divine hierarchy. Anu plays the role of maintaining cosmic order, while Zeus Ammon assumes a similar role.
In the beginning, after a great...
The gods are organized in a hierarchical structure, with specific deities assigned roles and responsibilities within their pantheons. The ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia and Greece had periods of contact and cultural exchange. This contact likely influences the mythology and religious beliefs of these civilizations. There is evidence to suggest that cultural and religious exchanges occurred between ancient civilizations. We have direct archaeological proof, without any doubt, that Greek scribes in the court of Alexander the Great in Babylon were still able to read, translate, write, and use cuneiform script, which was out of use by the time of the Roman Empire. Here is 2 examples of clay tablets written during the rule of Alexander the Great. The first clay tablet, shown here, figure 315, shows an astronomical tablet found in Babylon, which records events from the weeks prior and following the Battle of Gaugamela. It contains one entry that fixes the date of the battle at October 1st by the Julian calendar. The entries on the reverse side describe Alexander's proclamations to Babylon, an entry into the city, a famous event in world history. The anonymous scribe who recorded these events refers to Darius as king of the world in the entries leading up to the battle, then gives the same title to Alexander in the entries that follow. Lastly is this right here, figure 728. The text of this Babylonian astronomical tablet supplies our most accurate date for the death of Alexander the Great in a log entry designed to permit correlation of political and astronomical events. An anonymous scribe wrote in cuneiform for the date corresponding to June 11th on the Julian calendar. On this day, the king Alexander has died. So not only was the Ptolemies in Egypt able to still use ancient hieroglyphics during this period, but Greek academics in Babylon were...
I want to pause it right there and take some time and tell y'all, I want y'all to notice how even back then they had, I'm not going to say technology, I'm going to say equipment that we thought that they didn't have, but they had. They did things that we were told they didn't do, but they did. When we was told about our history, they took away from us. They lied to us about it. They twisted it around and confused everybody. We're doing exactly what they want us to do. And it's crazy because if the world ends, who are really going to be the ones that survive? Because a lot of people right now are bowing down to the devil, allegedly.
We're using the most ancient cuneiform writing.
And once again, I'm going to say it. Listen, I don't think that we're seeing aliens. I don't think it's aliens that we're seeing. It's so much that we could break it down. So it's going to go through so many lives. And when I get more people interacting with a shorty, then I can tell you a little more what I think and what I feel and what this right here, our history is crazy. But when you put all this together, when you put what's happening in the Bible, when you find the missing chapters that we don't know about, that were in the Bible, that a lot of people don't know about, but others do, and you put 2 and 2 together, it's crazy.
And the Great Library of Alexandria had access to the most ancient of texts during this short-lived period, which is the same period that historians from the ancient world, such as Josephus and others, claim that the Bible was produced, known as the Septuagint, which means 70. The story being that 70 elders put together this text, using the most ancient sources from Heliopolis and Babylon.
And y'all heard how he said it right there, right? He said, put together this text.
One can find certain parallels and similarities between specific deities, mythological themes in Sumerian and Greek mythology. Both Sumerian god Enlil and the Greek god Zeus are associated with the sky and are considered the chief gods in their respective pantheons. Zeus and Marduk are associated with thunder and display qualities of rulership and cosmic order. Scholars continue to explore these connections through comparative mythology, linguistic analysis, and the examination of archaeological and historical finds. The Babylonian zodiac and the Greek zodiac share a lot of...
So basically what those fallen angels taught mankind, right? they passed it forward. They left clues behind for future generations to find. And each generation kept doing the same thing. So there was somebody that wanted to do the right thing and wanted everybody to know everything that was happening at one point. And now we just got everybody trying to erase history, allegedly.
Overlap. Both zodiac systems are based on the division of the celestial sphere into 12 equal parts, each associated with specific constellations. The 12 signs are associated with certain animals, such as the lion, bull, scorpion, and goat. The Babylonians focused more on the constellation's symbolic and astronomical significance, rather than assigning them to specific deities. Each sign was connected to celestial omens and played a role in divination and astrology. The concept of precession of the equinox began in ancient Mesopotamia and was present among the Pelasgians and Egyptians, and later continued by the Greeks and Romans and even Hindus. This is a record of the period of the Earth's wobble in space, like an out-of-balance top. Each of the wobble takes about 25,765 years, divided up into 12, which is each astrological sign, shows the rising of the sun at dawn, which is roughly a 2,000-year period for each sign. Because of the slow change in our orientation of the stars, the position of the sun on the first day of spring, the vernal equinox, slowly shifts westward around the sky, which also moves it around our calendar. This is why we refer to this effect as the precession of the equinox, because the rate of the shift is 1 day for every 72 years. The position of the sun on the day of the vernal equinox is presently in the constellation of Pisces, near the border of Aquarius, which is the next age. The age of the ram and the bull predate the age of Pisces and are present in these ancient texts and even referenced by ancient historians, such as Pliny the Elder, Herodotus the Chaldean, and Diodorus of Sicily.
Yo, it's crazy how our zodiac signs fit into this shit. And I wonder why our that's going to be another live. Shorty's going to do another live. I hope I get people on that live, talking about our zodiac signs and representations and stuff like that, the meanings and much more.
The veneration of the solstices was also adopted by the Greeks from the ancient Mesopotamian and Pelasgians. Various ancient Greek calendars, such as the Attic calendar, show similar lunar cycles and start the New Year's during the spring rather than the winter, which is what the Babylonians and Sumerians also did. It is not until Julius Caesar adopts the solar calendar from the Egyptians in the 1st century BCE that this was changed. The Greek zodiac incorporates many elements from the Babylonian zodiac. For example, Aries is associated with the ram, and Taurus with the bull, Leo with the lion, and having 12 divisions, such as the Babylonians. This allotment of the heavens.
But it's not 12 divisions. I'm going to pause it right here, and I'm not going to agree with him because I've done my research, and I've seen the old templates, I've seen the calendars, I've seen all that. It was 13.
As a calendar for measuring time plays into the base 60 counting system that was established by the Sumerians and adopted by the Greeks, and is still universally used in the world today. Scholars like Jean-Pierre Vernat and Walter Burkett have examined the shared motifs and narrative patterns between ancient Near Eastern mythologies, Sumerian, Babylonian, and Greek. They explore the archetypal themes and symbols that appear across different mythologies and potential cultural connections that could have contributed to these similarities. These scholars argue that the ancient civilizations had contact and cultural exchanges, which could have led to the dissemination and adaptation of mythological ideas. They propose that certain mythological motifs or figures might have been shared or influenced one another. The Greeks adopted and incorporated many of these Babylonian constellations into their own zodiac system.
So where are these guys? In one part of the Bible, it says that God will return, right? And allegedly, it gave a time and everything. And if I think I did a live on this. I'm not sure if I did. I think I did. But if you do your math, it should be coming soon. Like, it should be arriving soon, between 2024, 2025, allegedly. And around this time, something should be happening too. But it's allegedly.
The constellation Taurus, who represents the bull, is associated with the divine bull that plays the